Welcome to the Art Lady's home. I just want to share with you a little bit of research I've done about mangoes. Right now, mangoes are all coming in and starting to ripen off of all the different trees. And you'll find fresh mangoes in your supermarket and farmers markets. The ones that you'll find mainly are a Hayden mango, which is this type of a mango, a Tommy mango, a honey mango, and a Mingalo mango. And these mangoes are easy to transport. So commercial growers grow them so that they're easy to produce and easy to distribute. These mangoes are of an average, taste, and they're not as delicious as the specialty mangoes. And our specialty mangoes are mangoes that are harder to transport. They're not productive for commercial growers, but the flavors are 10 times better than a regular mango that you get at your grocery store. So I want to introduce some different varieties of these specialty mangoes. And a lot of these varieties have been developed in South Florida. And these came from a specialty farm stand that sells mangoes from South Florida. And one of my favorites is actually this sweet tart mango, and I actually have a tree of a sweet tart growing in my yard. So I'm going to do some taste tests of different mangoes, comparing to store-bought mangoes, and then some of these just amazing different mangoes. For example, this Glen mango, when you bite into it, it doesn't taste like a mango at all. It actually tastes like you're eating a drinking pina colada, a pina colada drink. So the specialty mangoes have different flavors, and some have similar flavors to a store-bought mango, but these mangoes don't have as much fiber in them. And what's exciting is that some of these mangoes you can actually grow yourself, and they can come true to the parent. For example, if I grew this sweet tart mango here, this has a polyembryonic seed. So by growing the seed of a fruit tart mango, you're going to get a mango that's pretty much the same as your fruit. But if I grew the Glen mango, this mango has a monoembryonic seed, so it's not going to be the same as the parent Glen mango. So your tree that you grow from seed here will be different tasting than this Glen mango. So that's what's exciting about certain mangoes, because you can actually take the seed, grow it, and have a tree that's very similar or the same as the original mango, if it's that polyembryonic seed. And I'll talk more about it in other videos about growing mangoes, but this is just an introduction video to mangoes. Here are three of some very old varieties in Florida, and I just want to compare them with you. And the first one is the Hayden. This is one of our first varieties that came here, and this was brought here by Captain John Hayden in 1902. And this one has quite a bit of fiber in it, and it has that sweet, classic, peachy flavor of a mango, so our true mangoes. And this one I bought at a farmer's market, and this was actually the most inexpensive mango you can find, and it was 2 for $1. This one is produced commercially, and a lot of times when you have commercially grown mangoes, they're going to be picked early, and then of course the flavor is very washed out, not as strong, and basically not as good. The Hayden has a high fiber content, and probably that's why it's good for commercial, because it can be transported well without bruising. And it also has this really beautiful red color too, which is appealing to buyers. So it's a pretty mango, where compared to the Zill, this isn't really a beautiful one to look at, so people might just pass over this compared to one like this. So this was highly produced commercially and was very successful. You can still, like I said, this is what's common in your supermarkets. And so this was our first mango here in Florida, and most of our mango trees that we find in Florida have descendants back down to the Hayden. Haydens have a monoembryonic seed, so it does not produce true to a Hayden, so it produces other varieties, and that's where we get the Tommy from. So the Tommy Atkins mango is another one that's produced commercially, but it is the seedling of the Hayden mango here. And this is moderately fiberless, but with a mild flavor again, because this one is produced commercially, so it's going to have that washed out flavor. The next variety is a Zill, which is a Hayden seedling. And this one is a little bit better flavor than your Tommy's or your Hayden's. This one has a classic flavor with sweet notes of peach and pineapple. And this one is considered a fiberless mango. And it's not a real pretty one, like I said. And so it's not packaged commercially or not as common commercially. So I'm going to open up some of these to show you the difference between the two and taste, and we'll taste that. The first one I'm going to open up is the Hayden, which is one of our original mangoes here in Florida. And you can hear all that fiber coming through. And then I'm just going to do a slice. Hear the fiber even going through the piece here? You can hear all that fiber right there. Not a lot of flavor. A soft consistency, but again, fibrous. This has a little tartness to it, but again, extremely washed out in flavor, especially when you compare it to this is a Nam Doc Mai, any of these specialty mangoes. It's pretty flavorless. When you taste more toward the top, you get a little bit more punch of flavor. In the middle, not much. This is more toward the true mango flavor, and it's softer. The majority of it, though, isn't very flavorful at all. This has a little bit of chalky taste to it as well. As you get closer to the skin, more flavor. Again, you can hear all that fiber. A little bit tartar. Definitely not as much sugar as the specialty mangoes. Just a really true mango flavor, but very washed out. A little bit peachy. Still not as, it has fiber, but not as bad as some of the mangoes I've bought at the grocery stores. Now, these mangoes came from a farmer's market. Now, this one is the Tommy Atkins, and it is moderately fiberless. And this also has a mild flavor. This was commercially grown, and it's from Mexico. And this was at my local farmer's market. You can hear the fiber. Quite a bit of fiber there. This one almost tastes overripe. Not a lot of flavor, just a little bit of a tang. At the very top, I got more of a mango flavor. I like the Hayden a little bit better than this. But it doesn't pack flavor. It's just, like I said, washed out. A hint of a real mango flavor. Again, it's been shipped from Mexico, so the shipping transport time, picked probably when it wasn't that ripe. Hint of a little bit of a true hint, very hint of a true mango flavor. If you get a Tommy Atkins that's locally grown, it's going to taste different. The next one I'm going to open up is the Zill one. Seedling of a Hayden. And it's a cross between a Bombay. This one is fiberless. This one came from a local farm. Now, when I open up the mangoes, I look for this where it was attached. And then I look at the bottom. You can see it has a little bit of what they call a beak. It's a little point right here. And so I want to find the place where it was attached. And I'm going to go straight down. I don't want to go this way because I'm going to cut through the seed. So I'm cutting straight down. But here I want you to listen to this is supposed to be fiberless. It just smooth right through. Right there, look at that. Smooth right through. So let's look at the color. This is a beautiful orangey yellow. I'd call it a yellow orange. It's hard to pick up the difference in the camera. This is a much lighter one here. And this is our Zill variety. So I'm going to slice it through. You can't even hear the fiber here. Nothing, because there isn't any. I'm just going to peel it off like that. This is bursting with sweetness and flavor. It feels the texture almost of a peach. And it has that beautiful very peachy. It does feel like a canned peach texture. Extremely juicy. It's not an extremely massively sweet. I've had sweeter. It has a classic flavor to it. But very delicious. It blows these away. The other flavor, the store-bought ones. So if you've never had a specialty, I call them specialty mangoes. That means it's not a store-bought mango. The flavor is just so much more intense and amazing, especially without the fiber. This just melts in your mouth. I'm going to get a spoon. So if I mash it, you're going to see how there's no fiber in here. It just turns right to juice. Very, very creamy. Look at that. It kind of reminds me of like flan. Whoops. When I pick it up. This you can just scoop out with a spoon. Almost that texture of flan. Very smooth. And I would say mildly, it's sweet. But definitely not sickeningly sweet. Although I love sweet stuff. Doesn't have any tartness to it at all. But it's a great texture. A nice little mango there. And that was the Zill. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more about the different varieties in a thorough, in-depth taste tests, I'll be making more videos. Be sure to click on the subscribe button and have fun tasting your mangoes.